So in a way, what I'm talking about is that pointing to there's nothing happening here. This is nothing happening. This is not a thing happening. Well, a thing happening, what does it mean? For something to happen, it means I know it happened. If I don't know it happened, but what happened that I don't know? That's in the realm of not. What is? In other words, that's the nothing place. What isn't known is nothing. And you'll hear that all the time here in places like this. That this is nothing. That's what it means. It seems to be something to the me experience. For the me experience, this is happening because I know I'm bringing my knowledge to it. There's this, and then I put a little bit of knowledge around it, and now it's something happening. It's not nothing, it's something. You could say something like simple equation. Nothing plus my knowledge equals something. Now I have a something, a souffle of something, which I call experience. I call what's happening. Or I call the story of what's happening. That's this other word, story, that's always here. A story is simply what I know to be happening, what I know of this. And then we always say, well, you'll hear non-duality, that's just story. And, that the whole message is that what seems to be the me experience is not real, is not happening. It's a story. That's a big kind of concept to get, or supposedly to get. Anyway, that's the message, so-called. But in other words, that what seems to be happening is not a happening, it's, you could say an interpretation or a presentation of knowledge. And then this pointing to the fact that, there isn't any knowledge like that. This isn't known. This, what is not known by anyone. And there you get the no one here, no me. Me is the one who would know. Me is the knower. Me is the one involved in knowledge and involved in the story. And that's all very complicated, but it's not happening. What's happening where what is, nothing's happening. Nothing is what is. Nothing because it's not, it would only get to be something by gaining a story, having a story put on it. And somehow, you could say, me also is the one who's holding a story, holding something, holding knowledge, holding this experience of something. In other words, it becomes something, and it's by this act of holding to this added bunch of stuff called knowledge of what's happening, the past, the story of what is, what allegedly is, what supposedly is, what seemingly is, and there's, we call that an appearance, but in understanding, let's say, that appearance never appears with any knowledge because there isn't any knowledge. So the knowledge doesn't appear. In other words, it appears to be what it is. It appears to possess the story that we attach to it. Attach to it. What is it? There isn't any it, there's just this. Call it a mystery. Well, the mystery is what's happening, you could say. Can always say that. But it isn't known. The mystery doesn't have the knowledge. It doesn't have that information about it. Knowledge, my knowledge of what is this big, database, right? Tells me What's happening? Go to the giant database, and there's the info. All the knowledge of what is. To tell the story. All the stories are in that database. Well, for me, that's the end of the story. It's the beginning of the story, but it's the end of the inquiry, because I've got the knowledge, I've got the story, I've got my experience of what's happening, and the problem of it. And now we're getting, to the why why all of this? Because it's a problem. Okay, but the problem is the story. And the story is what came out of the database, came out of this collection of knowledge of what this is, but the base doesn't have a base. The database, there's no basis for the database. What is knowledge about? The only thing there is this. And there isn't anything to know about this. Anything that would be known wouldn't be about this. It would be about knowledge. Knowledge knows itself. The me is knowledge knowing itself. So that isn't happening. That isn't here. Never here. What's here is so much more simple. Doesn't need any kind of anything. Doesn't need to be known. Can't be known. Doesn't need to be. There's nothing that it needs. It's not a need. It's not a needer. This moment, there's no word for it. But it's not part of a story. And neediness, the need is a story. I have this, I need that. I need this to be that. There isn't that here. There is no one telling this as a story, this what is. No one seeing it, no one knowing it, no one having it. It's self-sufficient, it's going on by itself. Has all the stories in it, has everything in it, right? But there's no knower, no person here. All the persons, all the me's. The me is in the story. Created by the story, which is what? The story creating a story, about a story, for a story, but not happening. It never happens. Because everything happening is in the story. Story, you could say, happens in its own story. But here, what is always free of all of that. It's not touching any story. It's not involved in any story. It's not involved with any me, with any person. It's self-sufficient in that way. It's going on. But not going on as a story. Not going on as anything known. Not going on in time. Not going on in any place. It's here that is nowhere. The here that is without boundary, without limit, without, you get these words, unbounded, uncompromised, I don't know. You don't need words, really. That's it.